Hey everybody, welcome back to Elephant Exposed. I'm your host, CJ Jones, and I have yet a bit of local news to share with you guys this week. Um, we're going to go ahead and bring it up, so just work with me here just a little bit, practice a little bit of patience, and we're going to get this thing popping, okay? All right, so here we go.
And check on it throughout the hour. Let's go to this. A multi-agency search is underway, though, to find the motorcyclist officers say started a police chase and left the mother and her son dead.
This all happening?
And check on it throughout the hour.
Oh, apologize, guys. I did not share my screen. Sorry. All right, let's do this one more. Let's do this one more time. I got to share my screen. All right. Now we can go ahead and do this, and here we go.
More on that and check on it throughout the hour. Let's go to this. A multi-agency search is underway, though, to find the motorcyclist officers say started a police chase and left the mother and her son dead.
This all happening in Hickory Friday night. Authorities say a Hickory officer was chasing a motorcyclist driving recklessly when that officer hit a minivan that entered the intersection.
The 38-year-old Cynthia Lane was driving that van. She died at the scene. 12-year-old son Michael died yesterday from his injuries he sustained. The officer involved, 24-year-old Atia Shamseldin, is now on administrative leave as circumstances surrounding the crash are reviewed, including if the officer followed the right protocols here.
WCNC Charlotte's Kaylin Hagwood is in Hickory with the latest from investigators and also the family grieving the loss.
I spoke to Cynthia's husband, and he was devastated. He didn't want to talk on camera, but says he feels the officer was in the wrong, and now he has to come home to an empty house.
A Friday night police chase leaving a family in mourning.
Pray for they need it.
Cynthia Lale and her 12-year-old son Michael died after being hit by a Hickory policeman who authorities say was chasing a reckless driver.
Even as an officer, we still have to, under certain guidelines we have to follow, and making sure we're not negligent in our duties.
Sergeant Brad Clark joins those with the State Highway Patrol investigating the crash, recreating the scene with drones and even similar vehicles.
We're out here checking for extra witnesses that may not have been on the scene that night that did see it. Video footages from local businesses and restaurants close by, and just making sure we got all the pieces together.
Highway Patrol says Hickory policeman Atia Shamseldin tried stopping a motorcycle driver on Highway 70 near 4th Street. The motorcyclist didn't stop, so Officer Shamseldin took off after them, eventually hitting the vehicle Lale was in just about a mile later. Vicky Caldwell lives in the area and feels the motorcyclist is to blame.
She didn't get to have grandkids. She didn't get to have a wife, kids herself. It's all because of the driver that did wrong.
As the investigation continues, Clark says they're following all possible avenues to find that motorcycle driver.
Authorities say the motorcyclist was driving without a license plate, so that is complicating their search efforts just a bit. As for the investigation into the crash, they say that could take several months. Coming up at 6, we take a closer look at Hickory Police's actual chase policy when it comes to pursuing vehicles. Reporting in Hickory, Kaylin Hagwood, WCNC Charlotte.
Okay, so here we go, guys. This is another case of senseless death. And I'm going to just share with Elephant Exposes audience, because if you are a follower of our show, you know that what we do is that we break things down as fairly and equally as possible. So, first of all, let's address this whole incident from the biker's perspective. First of all, the rider of this bike, they knew that they were dirty from the start. There's an expression that we commonly use in our culture. We say, we knew that we were riding dirty. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, we know we don't have our license. We know that our insurance lapsed. We know that our tags are outdated. That's what we call riding dirty. So yes, all of this, in my opinion, I'm in dead agreement with our bereaved family member there. But I do, playing devil's advocate here, I do place partial blame on our police officer. And I'm gonna tell you why. So don't get in your feelings yet. Hear me out all the way. The partial blame comes in the perspective of the police officer. It's actually called due regard. And all police officers, no matter where they are, have authority to police. From the very start that they begin to call, there's a class that you take. And whenever I got, it's called EVOC, EVOC. When I got EVOC'd and trained and learning how to work with a radar, how to estimate speed, stuff like that, all of my training was done in conjunction with the North Carolina State Patrol. So the very sergeant that you see back in my day, back in '96, that's when I received my training. And they will teach you and they tell you that just because we have the authorization to go through stop lights, pass through stop signs, even in a chase, you still have to practice due regard. It's almost the same principle as to when we are teaching our juniors how to shoot. It's not only do you consider what's in front of you as your target, but you have to consider what's behind your target, because that hot piece of metal that's going to hit your target is not going to necessarily stop there inside said target. So it will continue to travel until it hits something else that's solid or that can absorb it or whatever. And then if it's solid, now you have to think about ricochet. So there's a lot more to it than just, okay, why he didn't take the shot or whatever. But let's go back to this tragic story of this family. 2 people are gone. They are never coming back. And you got a hurt family, and you have an officer that's going to have to live with this for the rest of their life. We understand that. But all of this, let me reword that. The reason why I'm placing partial blame on the officer is because you have to question, did this officer practice due regard? And that's going to play into this up and coming investigation. That's what they are going to be looking at, should be looking at, is, did our officer, yes, he had the right to get behind him. Yes, he had the right to turn on his lights. He had the right to even follow him. But what was the speed? And if that motorcycle got too far gone, too fast, hey, we live to fight another day. You live to see another day. And it should not ever be at the cost of a police officer is causing that chase to become more and more dangerous. So we're gonna try to keep an eye out for any updates of this story. I will keep you guys posted. In the meanwhile, thank you guys for listening, and tell me what you guys think. Your opinions. I mean, just because I have a law enforcement background does not mean that I'm not open to hearing and sharing your thoughts and opinions. Okay. So with that being said, we'll catch you next week. Y'all be good.